Dallas. For our fans, I don't think there's much better than the Cotton Bowl, other than maybe BCS National Championship berth. But the Cotton Bowl for our fan base is just, I think it's right there at the top.
You're the highest rated team in the BCS standings. Who's not going to the BCS Bowl? Is it time to blow up the formula for that?
No, I don't think it's time to blow up anything, but I think you will see in the next contract with the BCS, there'll be changes. I think we've already seen that there's a lot of discussion about eliminating the only two from a conference in the bowl game, and certainly that would have benefited us this year and our highest ranking at number 6. And I mean, obviously, I think we've deserved to be in one of those BCS games with the way we played. We've known what the system is. We know that this is a possibility with the way the system currently is. And I see this system changing in the future. And again, we've got to remember that the BCS system is really designed to fit number 1 versus number 2. And I think in this case, they have done that. It's 1 versus 2, LSU, Alabama. And I think it shows that we deserve in a BCS game because our only losses came to number 1 and number 2.
Is there any consolation, I guess, to this being a top 10 matchup? And when you look, it may be one of the 2 or 3 most appealing matchups in the bowl season?
Yeah, Chris, I think so. I mean, Kansas State has earned their way into the Cotton Bowl. I mean, they're 10-2, and they've played well, and there were other teams being rumored to be a matchup there, but hey, they've earned their way in. They have not been in the Cotton Bowl for a while, and so they'll come ready to play. I guarantee you, they're going to be excited about playing in the Cotton Bowl and playing in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, no question.
This game, it's a Friday night, prime time's the only game that day. I mean, I know the payout's not the same as like the Sugar or the Fiesta, but to me, it's in that stadium, prime time, it's almost like a BCS game.
Bob, I think you're right. I think the way that Fox will treat that game, because it's their premier game, having it on Friday night, up against nothing else, it's going to be a obviously national interest to that game on that night. So I think when you put those things together, I think it's a great platform for us to be playing and a great platform for us to continue to expose our program and where it's come and how good it is.
When you talk about bowl games as an AD, what are the things that you most desire in a bowl game in terms of how it benefits your program?
I'll be very honest with you. First thing, and this comes from my background as being a coach, but the thing I like about the Cotton Bowl is they're the bowl above all the ones I've been a part of. Get that it's about the student athlete, the job they do with the players in the game, what they do in events and all that for the players, they really get it. So that to me is another great bonus for the Cotton Bowl. They really understand that it's about those players first, and it comes out from there. So, but what do we look at program-wise? Exposure. That's what we're looking. That's what helps our program. That's what helps us in recruiting. That's what helps our university. I mean, one of the missions of our athletic program is to help bring positive light to our university, and the Cotton Bowl will do that nationally, but it'll also do it in an area of the country where we recruit a lot of students. So this is a big, big win for the University of Arkansas, not only our athletic program.
And how big is it for recruiting to play in the Metroplex?
Well, I think it's big. We're shifting more of our recruiting that direction because of playing the Texas A&M game there. That was part of the goal of playing Texas A&M in that stadium, so that I think helps our recruiting a great deal. And again, not only just football. That exposure helps our recruiting of all of our sports, all of our Olympic sports. So we'll see the benefits of this for years to come.
I guess a question that both my readers have is, where's your football coach tonight as far as, getting closer to him, or is he preoccupied? Or
he's recruiting, yeah, hoping to bring in some other players to help us beat number 1 and beat number 2.
Hey, speaking of A&M, have you guys made any kind of decision on having that home and home, or still having it in Cowboys Stadium?
No, we haven't. We have not gotten to that point. We're still waiting on some conference schedules to know exactly what that's going to look at. But a decision hasn't been made yet on continuing that series in Dallas.
Have you heard that your schedule's out?
Have I heard that my schedule's out? I'm sure that people have put our schedule out, but the fact that I haven't gotten it from the conference yet, I don't know how accurate it is. It may be. I haven't seen whatever's out there, but.
Will you have to schedule another non-conference game now?
Well, yeah, because Texas A&M becomes a conference game, so yeah, we have an opening.
Have you done that?
Well, it's hard to do because we don't have a conference schedule to know where that open date might be, so that's part of our struggle.
Have you looked at an opponent, I mean, have you talked to any particular?
Well, yeah, we've talked to people,
potential opponents?
but it changes dramatically depending on what date you have open, so, you know, but we have a window here, Bo, that a number of conferences are having changes, so we've got some things happening. It's a little bit frustrating, we're getting nervous, obviously it's very late, and we want a quality opponent in that slot, so it's one of the things that I'm nervously tapping my foot about as I talk to you here tonight, is that we don't have a 12 game scheduled yet, and we're still waiting on some things from the conference to be able to do that.
Are you looking at more as being a home and home like you had with an A&M, like a name, somebody from a BCS conference, or is that more
It
for somebody that would
depends.
just have?
I'll be honest, it's a good question, it depends. If we could just get a one-game thing to help us finish 12 that was of a quality that we wanted, and we'd do that, and then start a series later. So there's a number of options, Bob, you know, and I can't tell you which one's more preferable. It all depends on the level of opponent that we can get, and where we play.
And with the conference going to 14 teams, has there been much talk about the ADs and the, you know, slide about adding bowl games to the mix?
You know what, we haven't got to that yet because, you know, we have the bowl contracts are, I don't know, we got a couple more years left, I think, on the current bowl contract. There certainly will be when we start negotiations on the new set of bowls, and that will depend somewhat on the direction that the BCS goes and whether they have automatic qualifiers or not, or whether, you know, whether they do away with the automatic qualifiers, which is one of the options. And again, I caution, it's just one of the things they're looking at for the new BCS contract going forward.
There's no way they're gonna change that until the contract's up. There's no
I don't
chance
believe that can change until the contract's up.
And those selling tickets won't be.
Is that right?
You know, off the top of my head, I think it does have 2 more years.
through the 13 season.
Through 13 season, I believe that's accurate, yeah.
I know selling tickets won't be an issue, it being Dallas, but what's the allotment, I guess?
Well, tickets are going to be, it's going to be very challenging because we received 12,500 from the bowl. They are in a hard sellout, other than the 12,000 that goes to each institution. Robbie, when you look at that, you know, we sell over 30,000 to the Texas A&M game, so it's going to be a challenging ticket. We've had pre-orders available for season ticket holders and donors for about 2 weeks now. We weren't sold out as of the announcement, but we'll be sold out very quickly with donors and season ticket holders. And yes, Chris is telling me as of 8:30. We are, is that 8:33 or 9:33? 8:33, we are sold out and have 550 orders in queue. So we are sold out, and so there won't be tickets available to the general public. They will go to season ticket holders and donors, and that's been well publicized. You know, anytime you have demand exceeding supply, you have to have a way to distribute your tickets, and we've obviously done that through the people who have been loyal to us through either donating or buying season tickets.
Jeff, if you're like us, you've gotten feedback from fans on the end of the game, what CBS showed with Bobby the other day, and then the post-game handshake. Just what's your take on the feedback you've gotten and your response to it?
The feedback from fans?
Fans,
Your
league
take on-
office maybe.
I've not received feedback yet from the league office. I'm awaiting that. Professionally, I'm disappointed at the way that CBS portrayed Coach Petrino on the sideline. I think it's one thing if that's recorded live and they catch a coach using language, that's one thing. But I'm disappointed that they chose to record it and then show it later coming out, and further that they showed it in slow motion so words could be make sure they could pick it up. Now, so that's where I am. I'm waiting for a response from the conference office. Certainly, none of us like the use of profane language. It happens in the heat of the battle. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but I think in this case, I'm disappointed that it was displayed in the way it was by CBS.
Also, since Bobby's not here, just Garrick McGee getting the UAB job. Just a couple thoughts on Garrick. I know.
Well, Garrick has earned the opportunity to be an head coach. He has done a great job for us here. He did a great job at Northwestern prior to here. It's not surprising that he's a candidate for a number of jobs, and it appears that UAB is the job that he has taken. And so we're excited for him. Anytime you can get one of your coaches to succeed and move on to a head coaching position, you're happy for him. Garrick's is a tremendous young man and young person, and we will miss him more ways than just as an offensive coordinator. He's been a great part of our family.
I guess UAB actually confirmed it now. They officially confirmed it.
Have they? Okay.
They confirmed Bobby's announcement.
Well, just so you know, and I don't want to go on about, but that was not an announcement made without the knowledge of UAB. So I can't speak to their reasons. I'm sure they have a process they have to go by. But just so people don't misunderstand that, UAB knew that we were going to put something out, and they were comfortable with it.
Realizing it's short notice, but will Garrett coach at the game in Arlington, or will he go ahead to Birmingham? Do you know?
No, I don't believe he will, although it is very quick. But I think that he will go on and begin his duties as the head coach at Alabama Birmingham.
I think you guys want to say we're paying Garrick like $425,000. Is that will y'all be able to stick with that? Do you know what
I
kind
don't
of
know.
money
We
will be available?
haven't even begun to look at new coach and what that salary might be.
You were talking about language happening in the heat of the battle. Is that something that as an AD you talk to your coaches about? I mean, I realize that it's pretty routine for coaches at this level to use critical language. So I'm not pretending that it's a new thing. But I was just curious how you handle that as a boss of your coaches.
Well, certainly we have a conversation, but I can tell you that no coach wants to be seen on national television using profane language. But does it happen? Absolutely, and it happens in, like you say, the heat of the moment to get a point across. It's not something that people should be shocked by. But again, we don't like the use of the language like that, certainly where it could be shown and being out. And be honest with you, taken out of context and how it can be.
But do you ever talk to your coaches about how they talk to their players, or what kind of language they use as coaches, or no? Is that something an AD does, or you do?
Certainly in our administration of our coaches and our leadership of our coaches, we talk about things like use of language. We talk about, many things when it comes involved with our image, our reputation, our student athletes, all those things. So yeah, I guess the answer to your question is yes, we talk about those things, and there's things that, we as athletic administrators share and talk about with our coaches and student athletes.
What was this post-selection process like for you guys? I mean, you didn't know if it was Capital One, didn't know if it was going to be Cotton, then you guys accept the invitation, then it took some time before Kansas State accepted the invitation, because I guess they were waiting for a possible at-large in the BCS. What's this been like for you in the last couple of days?
Well, it's just a timing thing. I mean, I can't speak for the Bowls, but I'm sure some of them, after the BCS selections, they kind of know what directions they're going to go. However, they keep that confidential out of respect to their commitments to the television show, the BCS Countdown show, and those kind of things. So, we have an idea that we were Capital One or Cotton, and it wasn't until this evening that we found out which one.
Did you try to talk to him at all and tell him the Capital One? Our fans.
We talk, regularly with the Bowl people. But again, we don't do it just as we're leading up to the game. I mean, conversations go on throughout the year and such. So it's their pick. I don't think there's not a lobbying that goes on. I mean, they get the chance to make the pick for what they think is the best interest of their bowl, and that's the way it's set up. That's what they've more or less paid for through their sponsorship to be one of our bowls. So it's their pick, and so we just wait patiently for them to make their selection.
It seems like it worked out better for you to be in the Cotton Bowl, but the Capital One Bowl gets the first choice, and you're ranked ahead of South Carolina as the third best team in the league. And the fact that they didn't choose you, it used to be that there was a perception that came with that. Maybe there still is, I don't know, that why weren't you picked, as that? And when you look back to your resume of accomplishments, people will say, well, you're in the Sugar Bowl, and then that year you're in the Capital One Bowl, and there seems to be more value to you from a perception standpoint. What is your take on that?
Well, my take is over time, there's very little difference between the Capital One, the Outback Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl. When you look at who you're going to, because our conference is so strong, and then who we have the matchups with, I think there's very little difference. And I think you've seen, history has shown, they're going to, the Western schools gravitate towards the Cotton Bowl, and the Eastern schools gravitate towards Capital One and Outback. So, I don't think it says what it once said, and certainly I don't think our season is any less accomplished because we're playing in Cotton Bowl, and absolutely the opposite, because I think the game changer is the Cotton Bowl is the finest stadium in the world. So for us, it's hard to beat the Cotton Bowl.
I think everybody's going to hold the Super Bowl in Orlando on that stage.
5 days after they play the game, right before it.
Just as an SEC AD, what do you think about? Sorry, Robbie. What do you think about the LSU-Alabama matchup? Obviously, the SEC is guaranteed a 6th straight national champion.
Well, I think the BCS system worked. It got the number 1 and number 2 ranked team, the 2 best teams in the country playing in that national championship bowl. That's what I think. And having played both those teams, I think Arkansas has seen that up close and personal. I think those are the 2 best teams in the country, and I think the system worked. Whether you like the system or not, it worked to get the 2 best teams in that game.
I guess, but just from an SEC perspective, how good is it?
Oh, I think it just proves what we've all been saying for years, that we're the strongest conference in the country, and that the West Division is the strongest division of any conference in the country. So I think that's just a clear statement. I think most people already know that, but this just drives that point home.
I assume the way K-State sells tickets, there's not going to be K-State. They're not going to be giving you guys any tickets, right?
No, I don't believe there'll be any K-State tickets available. Their fan base is hungry and excited to be going to Dallas as well.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right.